Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this. The Mistercraft Fairey Fulmar Mark 1 or 2 in 1/72nd scale. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. So today's video, a quick look inside the box of this Mistercraft Fairey Fulmar. So on the cover of the box we've got this reasonably well illustrated image of the Fairey Fulmar in flight, but the drawing quality isn't quite up to the standard of other manufacturers, but I think that the bright colours actually still catch the eye. Down here in the bottom corner it indicates that this is a new kit, potentially to the Mistercraft range, although I am aware that this has been part of the Revell, Vista and Airfix ranges at one point or another, so it'll be interesting to see what's inside here. The edge of the box has the same image, indicates that it's a skill level 3 and also shows two different variations on the painting scheme. One in US Air Force Operation Torch colours and one in Vichy French colours as well. This side of the box features artwork of the same one on the front, as well as other bits of information. And then on this side here we've got some safety warnings and other bits of information. The rear of the box features nothing. So if I give it a shake, let's see and hear if things are loose inside the box. It sounds like there's things rattling around in there, but they don't sound as loose as the other Mistercraft kits I've had in the past. So let's get the box open and see what's inside it. And wow, the parts actually come sealed in a plastic bag, which I've never seen from a Mistercraft kit before. Normally these sprues are completely loose inside the box and there are bits flying around. So as is normal, we'll have a look at the instructions first and then we'll move on to the other parts. So the instructions are to the familiar format of Mistercraft, with the same colour image on the front cover, multilingual information about the actual Fairey Fulmar, but it is originally written in a different language, so the English version is a little bit strange. And then we turn over and we've got the painting instructions. This is in colour, which I really find very useful because it helps clarify any ambiguity that you might have when you come to paint it. So you've got a good idea of the colours that you're supposed to use. You can see that each version is painted pretty much identically. It's just the decals that sets it apart. We've got a Fulmar Mark 1 of 809 Squadron Fleet Air Arm from HMS Victorious during Operation Torch. We've got a Fairey Fulmar Mark 2 of the Fleet Air Arm from the same aircraft carrier, but this time carrying the American marking so that the French didn't try and, shoot them down. And then we've got a Fulmar Mark 1 of the Vichy Air Force in 1941 and 42. So three interesting decal schemes. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do. I'm erring towards this one because it's got yellow tail fin, which makes it a little bit more interesting. But put in the comments which version you'd like me to build. Down here you've got a list of different paint colours, all lettered, and you're given an FS number which helps you to determine which one to use, but they haven't given any actual brands, so you pretty much have to make up your own mind as to which one you're going to use there. Onto the back there, and we've got a missing part warranty. If you've lost something, then you can potentially get a replacement if you need it. Let's get inside and see what the steps are like. So this booklet folds out, it just keeps going. On the first page we've got a sprue map, two sprues and your clear sprue here, and it indicates which parts aren't used, but it turns out that they're all used in this one. Everything is multilingual, so watch out for that. And then we start the construction of the cockpit, the propeller, we add the wings together, all the things get put inside the fuselage, and then the intakes on the engine are added. If you want to depict the landing gear deployed, then you need to cut the landing gear covers along those lines there. And we move on to here, so you can see we're adding the canopy, the wings go onto the aircraft, and then the landing gear is added to the model. So there's only really 15 steps here, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Things are laid out a bit funny. I mean, in this box here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actual different steps, but I don't think it's particularly difficult to follow. It is a little bit confusing, a little bit You've got to pay attention to the actual instructions to find out what you're doing at a particular stage so you don't get it in the wrong order. But I think the instructions are reasonably clear for a Mistercraft kit. But that being said, I'll find out more in depth about that as I actually come to build it. So let's take a look at the decals. So we get two sheets, one with a sort of cream backing paper and one with blue. Let's take a look at these first. So this is for the Vichy French version, and the printing seems to be quite good on these. I can't really see any errors. There's a little bit of a scuff, it looks like, on there, but the small ones are quite well done as well. These are generally okay. A little bit of misprinting there. It's not, the colours aren't as uniform as I would like, but they look okay. The registry, so the circles within circles, look to be fairly central. That's quite good. Mistercraft do have a bit of a reputation for being not the best decals in the world. And we move on to these, and these are a little bit worse than the French ones. There seems to be a little bit of fuzziness or colour bleed on the roundels here. The lines are not quite as clear cut between the blue and the white there, but the printing seems okay. The colours are a little bit funny in a few places, but it looks to be alright. I guess the only thing to really figure out is how they go on to the model, which we'll find out in a build video. So that's it. The decals look okay, but I do have my reservations about them. They're not as high quality as some of the other manufacturers I've looked at. And now the main event. The components of the kit, which comes sealed unusually in bags, which is a pleasant surprise. I need to find a knife now. So let's get these bags open and see what's in there. So in the bag we get two sprues in a sort of whitish grey plastic, and then you get another sprue which holds your clear part. And like I said, this was originally part of the Vista range, and it was a new tool back in the 90s, so it shouldn't be as bad as some of the other kits that we've seen from Mistercraft. And just looking at it here, you can see that there are raised and recessed details, and the flash, because I know that some Mistercraft kits have got absolutely tons of horrendous flash, the flash is not too bad. There is flash in places, such as on here on the nose, you can see that there, but it's quite manageable. The mould quality is quite good. The plastic feels different to the normal plastic they use. It's not as brittle, has a little bit of play in it, but to me this looks to be quite good. Let's take a look at the wings. Again, raised and recessed details. So if you brush by hand like I do, you will be able to probably preserve many of these details and bring them out with a wash, which will be quite nice to see. But generally it looks okay. There is a bit of a cockpit which you have to build up. So you've got your control panel there, your seats and other small components, but on the inside here there's no actual representation of any instruments or anything. So the detailing seems to be okay. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes when it fits together. The clear part, so this contains the main canopy there, and actually it's considerably better than the other clear parts I've had from Mistercraft. Normally they come with all sorts of scratches and things inside, and the plastic tends to be quite brittle, but this actually looks really good. That's it. The only reservation I do have actually is that there's no crew figures. So if I wanted to depict this flying with a pilot controlling it, then obviously I'd have to source my own crew figures and put them in. But other than that, the actual parts seem to be on the better side. This looks like it's actually the best kit I've had from Mistercraft so far. Not only in the fact that it comes in a bag, so quality wise it's generally better, but the actual sprues are to a higher quality, so it looks like they've managed to get their hands on a reasonably recent tooling. My only worry is these decals are a little bit questionable, but fingers crossed they go onto the model all right. So fairly good components, questionable decals and reasonable instructions contained within the standard Mistercraft box with the slightly strange drawing on the front, but it's not too bad. I quite like the Mistercraft range because you can get some fairly strange and weird and wonderful subjects which you can't necessarily get from other manufacturers, and they're not expensive in the UK either. This sort of kit retails between £5 and £10, so it's not particularly expensive. It's not going to break the bank, But at the end of the day, sometimes you do get what you pay for, in the sense that it's not as good a quality. But this one actually looks to be, so far, the best kit I've actually taken a look inside the box of from Mistercraft. So make sure you leave a comment down below, let me know what you think of this kit, which version you'd like me to build, the British version, or the British version with the American roundels, or the Vichy French version. Like I said, the French version probably has got the better decals, but that's just by looking at it. Don't forget that I'm also eager to hear any other suggestions you might have for videos or builds that you'd like to see on my channel, so post that too. Before I finish the video, honourable mention to my patrons. A massive thank you to you for all the support that you give me. To find out more about what becoming a patron means and the perks it gets you, take a look at the link in the description of the video. And all that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.